The second presentation is titled Stereotypes and Misunderstandings Related to BIM in the context of managing road infrastructure. So we are moving over to a higher level of BIM. It will be given by Dr. Sławomir Heller from Heller Group, Germany. Welcome. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad that we are meeting at infraBIM in spite of such difficult circumstances and conditions. Great congratulations and thanks to organizers. A pity, of course, that we are only meeting virtually. Next year, I'm convinced we will be meeting in 3 dimensions. Ladies and gentlemen, although the topic of my presentation means stereotype and misunderstandings related to BIM in context of managing road infrastructure. So please allow me that I'll start by asking about the state of BIM in Poland and Central Europe. I'm curious how you would answer about state of BIM. I think that answers would be going in a similar direction, rather positive. Well, all in all, most of us evaluate BIM from the perspective of our own activities, therefore developing 3D techniques for designing purposes and gradually implementing at stage of construction. We are participants to great projects with application of BIM. We are educating on BIM in majority of technical universities. So BIM is unprecedented success story. Good, but let us try to make this question more specific about target, the objective the BIM is to fulfill. We will all, I guess, agree that it is increasing digitalization of construction sector. It is low. Lower actually can be only in 2 sectors, in agriculture and hunting. Many in the low level of digitalization see the main reason of this drastically low level of work efficiency in construction compared to other sectors of economy. So heating off construction or including construction into the blood circulation system of the whole economy is the great economic and social objective BIM should be supporting. The question is it supporting it, and what digitalization actually we really mean? Is it pop technology and spectacular solutions at the stage of design and construction, so that means delivery phase, or perhaps how common applications are the routine activities on everyday exploitation, so operational phase? Supporters of the opinion that BIM should be focused at the stage of design and possibly construction, and there public funds should be going promoting BIM. Well, they insist, quite rightly, I guess, that at the stage of design and build, we face frequent changes. Cooperation of many entities and coordination of these activities supported by BIM brings benefits with which, with large complex projects, reach up to 30% of all costs of the project. But there are supporters of the opinion also that true digitalization is one which is going down to every household. It should be related to each and every smallest even project and even smallest design and construction company. And first of all, most neglected an entity which is actually the infrastructure manager responsible for the operational or exploitation phase. Yes, owners of infrastructure and managers mainly in Anglo-Saxon countries raise their head more and more often and criticize on deepening of such actual BIM and uniphase. So in 19650 standard explains it clearly. In New Zealand BIM handbook, we find a setup of costs of life cycle born in the design, construction, and exploitation phase. One of the costs is planning and designing, 1%, where 90% is the exploitation phase. Okay, the world is spending about $2.5 billion annually for technical infrastructure, including transport infrastructure. And in this context, 1% is not little. Yeah, but 90% is much more. Whereas exploitation phase is still in the shadow of the great sister, the design phase. It is treated as a marginal thing at conferences and in publications, which actually strengthens the stereotype of BIM as a tool for designing in 3D. And the most dangerous is the fact that in the awareness of many owners and managers of infrastructure who are victims to such stereotypes, BIM is not for them. Therefore, commonly delegating all tasks related to BIM implementation in the organization of the manager, delegating it down to technical personnel. But BIM in the organizational is 100% the job of the boss. Organizational goals are superior, and the tools are subjected to these goals. And paradoxically, BIM standard, ISO 19650, actually clearly points at the necessity of cohesive perception of both phases of life cycle of each technical object. That means design and construction phase, so this delivery phase, and operational phase. The standard also defines these fundamental points of contact between both phases, delivery phase and operational phase. First of all, transition from delivery to operation. And already at the stage of formulating requirements, it's taking over information to provide soft landing from delivery phase to exploitation phase must be guaranteed. And therefore, the requirement of such implementation of BIM tools, which would facilitate this taking over, even if asset information model, that means database, data bank of owners, is actually crippled and away from basic technical standards, because delivery of documentation in the form of perfect 3D model brings in little. For example, for a refurbished portion of road, if the manager of the road system operates based on linear simple model, based on a completely different reference model. In the best case, after a few years, boreholes will be made to get to know the state of the road surface. No, I'm not actually painting any fiction here, but reality. And, well, I am confronted with these problems on day-to-day basis, of course. Well, with the comment that they reflect the German reality, but the basic scene of BIM was focusing on the design phase of a project, at best special, large project, because people say that it pays only to use BIM for large projects. But the spirit of BIM is different. It delivers two projects. First is the physical object in the form of built or modernized bridge, for example, and the other circuit is information about the project, whereas technical standards focus on the first product. Then BIM standard regulates the second one, the latter, regarding requirements regarding standard of information and the mode of delivering them and exchange among entities involved in this process. Each construction project should be implemented within BIM standard. Each and every one. In each and every one, information is being generated in exchange, and the standard demands actually those information items to be adapted to the scale of the project. So the role of the manager who to every project, regardless its size, and towards every company involved in implementation, can not only enrich regularly their own resources by the proper information and tools, but also stimulate digitalization all through the sector, through free of charge delivery of simple IT tools for the time of implementation used for simple tasks, thus preventing a real threat of two different classes, grades in construction reality. So if we agree that digitalization of construction sector, which we aim at, has to have broad and stable foundations, and BIM is a vehicle which should be supporting such digitalization, it is necessary to expand BIM optics by the phase of operation and include including all stakeholders, including owners and managers, and expanding BIM in the understanding of building information management on all construction projects. Well, we would like to ask who is the engine driver in this train and who is making decisions. So I don't know. So therefore, the Global Association of Road Experts regarding BIM asset management, the work of which I manage, such understanding of goals and mission of BIM is being promoted. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, first of all, for your voice. It's so important for the representatives of our infrastructure managers. They don't have to feel reluctant or afraid of using BIM. Hopefully, we will be back to that in the discussion panel.